Hello, Minecrafters and Redstoners. I am Natanus Likens, and we got a video drop today. So Mojang has released what's coming in the future, like some new things that are coming, and it's. I've already seen this video. I'm not going to play the whole thing for you. We're just going to go to a few key points and like go through it a little bit. There's not a whole lot to go over. I am on one hand I'm kind of excited, on the other hand I'm just kind of like whoop de doo. This announcement isn't like game changing. It's not amazing. In fact, it's very boring. It's kind of mundane and just like why bother? First and foremost, if you haven't heard already, let me find the spot here. It is 51, I believe. We're gonna let this actually play out. All right, right here, and
Hello, little friend.
so yeah, the copper golem's back. We are gonna finally get the copper golem because I do know there's been a lot of push to have the copper golem introduced. They've changed what it's going to do. So originally in the I think they said it's 2021 mob vote, the original concept for the Copper Golem was that it was going to interact with Redstone and be able to like push buttons and everything. That's about it. It was an interesting mechanic that I thought would be a lot more useful, but they have changed it, and they've also changed how it spawns. It's kind of interesting what they got in their hot bar right here. So right off the bat, you can see that they got the copper axe, so that's a little foreshadowing. They announced it in the video itself, but we are getting copper tools. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then they've got a piece of honeycomb, so you can wax your copper golem so that it will keep moving. As far as I know, they have kept the same mechanic where as it ages, it gets slower, and then once it's fully oxidized, it won't move anymore. They never said that that is back, but they did say that it does age, and you can actually summon it in the different aging forms. So I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work. They didn't say that it is going to age to the point and then freeze once it's fully oxidized. They didn't say that. As far as I know, that mechanic is still staying. However, what they did say is that what it's going to do is going to be slightly different. But anyway, let's get back to the items that are on the hotbar. I don't really know what the item frame is for. I got a feeling it's gotta have something to do with the new functionality that it has, but you can see that there's a carved pumpkin and a copper block there. So the way we are going to be summoning this is pretty much identical to an iron golem, but instead of 4 blocks of iron or 4 blocks of copper, we're only going to use one. But it's going to do more than that. Let's see if I can find that where it shows it. They're talking here about some of the changes to it and everything. Then we get this guy being an idiot talking about the fact that he has all this copper and he's like, oh, I can't use it for tools or anything. What I'm going to use it for? You're a complete idiot, dude. Since they introduced it, there's never been tools for copper. Kind of a waste, but they did announce that you are going to get tools. I don't know why. Anyway, so when you spawn the copper golem, it is going to pop up with this copper chest. We now have copper chests. We have a new form of chest. Uh, okay. Uh, I've got nothing on that. Neither good nor bad because they're not changing any of the functionality of a normal chest. We can actually craft these now. So basically what's going to happen is when you put the carved pumpkin on top of the copper block, a copper golem is going to spawn standing on top of a copper chest. So it's a 2-for-1 deal. You're trying to summon a copper golem and you're going to get a copper chest. So they go hand in hand. And the way this works is that it is a slightly better version of what the LA currently does. You heard that. It is a slightly better version of what the LA currently does. So with the LA, you give it an item and it will pick up any of those items and try to give it to you. What the copper golem is going to do alongside this copper chest is that any items you put into this copper chest, the copper golem will go and grab them and take it to a different chest. Typically whatever you've already got in there. Now, considering they had an item frame in their hand, they don't mention it, but I got a feeling it's going to have something to do with an item frame. Like maybe the copper golem can identify what's in an item frame and be like, oh, this goes here. Um, the one thing they didn't say is if there's any kind of verticality to this. Judging by what we got on screen, no, there's no verticality. It has to be on the same level. As far as the distance, they didn't say. So we have no idea how far this is going to work. And apparently, this is already available on Bedrock. It's not available on Java, but it is available to play with on Bedrock. Um, I don't know how I feel about that. That's interesting. Like you've got the ability to put stuff into a dump chest now, and it automatically gets sorted. That's interesting. The fact that it seems like it's gonna be on a flat plane is kind of annoying to me. Like I don't like it. Uh, I don't see this replacing any kind of sorting system. I do think it will work good for anybody that has a dump chest. So if you got a dump chest, use a copper chest and dump your items in there. The copper golem will go through and sort it all. So I do think it's a very niche thing. I'm not, like I said, I'm not fully for this, but I'm not against it. It's an interesting idea. I do like the concept of it, and right away, I've already given you an idea on what you can do with this. This could be your dump chest. Like, dump everything in your inventory when you're done building, and let the little guy run around and put stuff where it belongs. Though it does have to be in a very, very specific, very small storage area. Again, we don't know what the area covered is. We don't know how far from the chest it can actually go and put items. They didn't give us any kind of details on like the range of the copper golem. So that is an interesting thing. I'm glad to see the copper golem back. I'm glad to see that we are finally getting it, and it's getting an interesting mechanic, though it's a mechanic we've technically already seen. Like I said, it's just a better version of the LA. Like the LA is garbage. This is slightly better. Like I can see a use for this. Exactly one use. I can see exactly one use for this. So that's an interesting thing that they have done. We'll see how that goes about when it comes to Java. I may end up updating my world again. That's going to cause me more problems, but I may end up updating it again because I do think having the ability to get rid of your items, like have a dump chest, this is going to work really good for that. But we're going to need more details on exactly how this works. Like, what's the range? Is there any verticality? Can it go upstairs? Can it go downstairs? I don't know. They didn't give us any information on that. So next up, I want to jump over and yep. So we've got a full. Can you see my mouse? Yeah, you can see my mouse. So we got a full set of copper armor now, and a full set of copper tools. The premise is that this is your next step from stone tools. So you're going from stone to copper and then to iron. I what? Why? I know there's a lot of people saying why didn't we get copper tools? Why didn't we get copper armor? I'm on the fence about that. I don't really care about it too much. It's not something that I wanted ever. I didn't see a need for it because generally speaking, you're still just going to jump straight into making iron stuff, especially considering that making an iron farm is much easier than making a copper farm. They didn't say anything about the copper farm going away. The only real comment is that one idiot saying that, oh yeah, you can't make uh, copper tools. You've never been able to make copper tools. Um, the thing, him saying that, now, yeah, I just completely lost the train of thought, but it was something about like him saying that now we got that step between, and I'm just kind of like, why did we need that step between? I know there's a lot of people that wanted that, but I never thought that that was necessary. Um, what the only thing that I think we really need is we needed some new things anyway, like a couple things here and there. So I'm not against having this new armor and copper tools, but I'm not really. I don't understand why we're getting it now. Why didn't we get it back then? Uh, when they first introduced copper. That's the other thing. They were talking about this, saying that copper is underutilized. Copper has the most variant of blocks in the entire game right now. I think the only thing that beats it is like any of the colored blocks, like terracotta and cement or concrete. Those are the only two that probably beat it as far as how many different variations of it there are. Like there's a ton of different copper blocks. If you wanted to give us new copper items, you should have given us like pipes and stuff that we could hook up to iron and then give us an iron variant of that. Like make the copper ones like maybe a little bit slower, something we can hook up to a hopper that isn't actually a hopper so we're not flooding our world with hoppers and redstone circuits and everything, and use it that way. And then we can actually use the copper tubes as something that looks like it belongs in the world. Like it's a tube. You can have the tube on the wall and then give us like a couple variations of that. Like here's a glass tube, or here's a tube that has an anchor to it so you can make it look like it's attached to a wall. Not tools. Tools seems like the biggest, laziest possible way you could have done this. Like giving us more stuff to do with copper. Give us more stuff to do with other things. Like give us a way to farm sand. Give us a way to farm red sand. The copper tools, I don't understand it. It's I understand that there's a lot of people that wanted that and thought it was a good idea and didn't understand why we didn't have it to begin with. I don't think it was necessary whatsoever. Um, I do think having more weapons and tools is something that we need to look at for Minecraft. I don't think this is how it needed to happen. Uh, I do think we need new weapons, like add a few more weapons. We do have the mace. Give us a copper mace, like something a cheaper version of the current big mace. Like give us a weapon that is basically the same thing, only it doesn't do the whole like explosion of air sending us up. Like give us a version that will get us used to using the mace, something like that, and then do the same thing for copper or iron. I also think with the iron, because they mentioned they just touch on iron barely by saying we need something that's in between stone and iron. Well, 90% of the time, if you watch any kind of YouTuber, they go straight to iron. They don't even bother with the copper. And they this guy's acting like copper is so abundant, you get more of it than you do iron. I mean, I haven't restarted since they introduced the caves and cliffs, so I don't know if you're gonna find more copper than you do iron, but I did have copper available at the time, so I did find copper, but I was still finding more iron. And again, like I said earlier, it's easier to set up an iron farm than it is to set up a copper farm. Copper farm takes a lot more resources to do. Iron farm, not so much. And in fact, while you're working on the iron farm, you're going to be getting iron. So it's just helping you build more. So I don't fully understand that. Yeah, here we go with right here, uh, right here you can see the copper golem on top of its copper chest, and the copper chest, it does act like a normal chest, so you can have them side by side and everything. The only difference is that the copper golem will interact with it. You can see that the copper golem's opening it up right there, and it will take things out of this chest and put it into another chest with matching items. They didn't state how the matching items is going to work, just that it will. There's another item right here. I have no idea what that is. I just noticed that. I hadn't gone through the footage and just been like nitpicky and looking at all the little details. But yeah, that's basically what we got on this. And I was about to say, it looks like there's a new block right here. No, that's a loom. Yeah, you can see that we do have variants in all the copper chests. So not only are we getting the copper chest that the copper golem can work with, but we are getting the chest as a standalone item. So you just take a chest, surround it in copper, and that makes a copper chest. If you played any kind of modded Minecraft, that's the exact same thing you can do for iron chests, gold chests, uh, diamond chests. It's exactly the same way. Works exactly the same. It is interesting that they do have the oxidation levels, so I wonder if it's fully oxidized, if we'll be able to open it. That's an interesting thing that I noticed. They didn't say anything about it, they just showed us, and I just realized that there's blue berries in the background. Do you see that? These berries are blue. Are we getting new berries? That's interesting. Interesting. Let's see here. Can we Yeah, see all the berries in the background there are blue. Interesting that that's there. I didn't notice that beforehand, but like I said, I didn't go through this frame by frame and look for stuff. We're just kind of. I wanted to show a few things. Yeah, you can see the copper golem has this open, is looking in there. I don't see anything of note anywhere. We got like a clay pot there with a few things going on, a little bit of decoration there, stone. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all we got to talk about with this thing. I don't know what the new item is. Is there anything new in his inventory here? I can't see what that is. I think that's just dirt. Yeah, nothing new there. I've got a little figure of Reaper from Overwatch in my way. So, yeah, you can see they were working on the animation right here. So you can see the animation for it. They did say that they changed the copper golem a little bit. They said they changed some of its textures, and it looks to me like it's bigger. So it looks like its arms are bigger, its head is bigger, its little antenna is bigger. It's still the same little guy that we've seen before, but slightly different. Just a little more to it than what was going on. And then Agnes is talking about how she loves seeing copper pass in time because you can see that it's actually passing. Time is actually passing in the game. And then here they're showcasing the creation of the golem. So you can see that again, we got the copper golem and the chest, and then goes through. Let's just go ahead and play this
Copper
real quick.
Golem will get that same oxidation state.
So as you can see, boom, boom, boom. You got all of them same oxidation state, and this guy's apparently already opening his chest, even though he's not even facing it. I don't see anything else in the background here. I do see those are probably supposed to be rose bushes, but something looks a little bit off about them. And then you got this guy right here using a pickaxe, a copper pickaxe, wearing completely copper armor. I don't really see any details anywhere else. The texture right here on what I thought was dirt is interesting, especially the fact that he's using a pickaxe. And then the final thing that I wanted to bring up is she's here. Let's just listen to this. Let's just listen to this real quick because
Did we place any torches on our way here? Um,
I don't think I went far enough back. Because they hint at another mob coming with a sound.
right now. Whoa.
I'm not really sure what to make of that sound. So at first, like there was a comment on the video that said, "Hey, is that the gloom?" Because they're talking about torches and everything and finding it, but that sound is more like the hide and seek mob, the one that would hide and if you found it, it'd give you a present,
Now. Whoa.
right there. You heard it. It's almost a metallic. That may have just been the copper golem going with you down into the mines. I don't know. Let's see here. Is there any? I don't think there's any other details. Well, that's all we got. So I'm curious to see what your guys' reaction is and what you think. I love seeing that the copper golem is back. I do like the idea of it being able to take items from a specific chest, put them into another one. I don't think it's going to be extremely useful. It's going to be like a niche useful. And again, that particular niche is when you're done building and you're trying to clear out your inventory of any kind of loose blocks and everything, and you don't want to take the time to actually sort them. Though most people that I used to watch or used to know uh, probably either do it themselves or they have a redstone contraption for it. So it's an interesting concept. We'll have to see what happens with that in the future because the range is going to be what plays the biggest role. Like, what is the range on that? And the reason I say that is a lot of people have like very big redstone contraptions for sorting their items and everything, and their storage rooms are kind of massive. Mine is honestly kind of tiny, but the other problem is like height, verticality. What's the verticality going to be with this guy? Is it going to be on one layer? Is it going to be able to go up and down stairs? Can it go up and down scaffolding? Can it go up ladders and fill in everything? Is it going to be able to pathfind like that? Or is it just going to be on a flat vertical plane where it can go and just fill up chests that are flat? Uh, I don't know. They didn't say a whole lot about that. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you guys' comments on what you think. And I also really, really, really would appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel and helping me continue on with trying to build this channel. We are really close to hitting 100 followers. I don't know if I'll be able to do anything special because work takes priority, but we'll 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 see what we can do when the time comes. Until then, guys, be good to each other. I have not stolen that from somebody. God bless, and I will see you later. Bye.